Hey guys, this is Dario from Bluebird Coffee Roastery, and I'm going to talk to you about the April subscription coffees. I'm very excited about the coffees we'll be shipping you guys. I'm going to be brewing bag 1, which is kind of the new coffee that we send out every month. Although we have had quite a few multiple new bag boxes, which is super cool, new coffee boxes. But I'm really excited to chat with you about these. Before getting into this month's coffee, we need to talk about the blue bag coffee for last month. So in March, we shipped out a beautiful naturally processed Ethiopian coffee to our blue bag subscribers. For those of you who don't know, the blue bag is an optional extra coffee you can add to your subscription. And what we do is we ship you not a blue bag anymore, but the name remains. We ship you a blank bag with a beautiful coffee in it and no information. So you don't know what the coffee is, you don't know the varietal processing origin, none of that. You get to taste this coffee without any preconceived ideas. The idea behind this is that for all of us, we have preconceived notions or ideas around certain origins or processing methods or varietals, what we like, what we don't like. And when we get to taste coffees without any of those, without any colored glasses, we get to see the coffee for what it really is, and then we get to learn about the details later. So for those of you who got the blue bag last month, I hope you enjoyed it. I've particularly enjoyed it through an espresso machine. It's been tasting great with milk, also great as a filter. It's a naturally processed coffee from the Guji region, from Sukukuto wash station, and it is a beautiful coffee. We were tasting loads of cherry. I've really been getting like a mulberry type of sweetness or characteristic from the coffee. Very, very juicy, jammy sort of texture, and a nectarine stone fruit characteristic as well, which we're really, really enjoying. And that coffee will hopefully be coming to the rest of our subscribers soon. And yep, hope you guys enjoyed that coffee. So let's talk about the April coffees, and then we'll brew using 2 different brew methods that I want to chat with you guys about. Bag 1 is going to be Aricha, which is a beautiful washed coffee from the Yirgacheffe region in Ethiopia. We're calling red apple, golden syrup, and vanilla as flavor notes. I'm going to brew some of that for you just now. And then for our second bag, we'll be shipping out Chayesa honey from Rwanda, produced by Muraho Coffee, another fan favorite at the moment, tasting absolutely incredible. We had it on bar recently, and the milkies were tasting great. And on the cupping table last week during our quality control production that we do every Friday, the Chayesa honey was one of the standouts on the table for me. So I'm really looking forward to sending that to you. And for our 3 bag subscribers, we've got Edido washed, which is another washed coffee from Ethiopia, coming to you, loads of like blueberry characteristics and vanilla. Just an amazing washed coffee from the Yirgacheffe region as well. If you've been subscribing for a while, you would have had that a few months ago as bag 1, and the feedback on that coffee was exceptional. So I know you'll be excited to be getting that coffee again. And I can't tell you what it is, but the blue bag is going to be extra special this month. So if you aren't a blue bag subscriber, this might be your moment. So let's brew some coffee. I'm going to use a very old AeroPress. I think a lot of you have got this version of the AeroPress. I don't think this was the OG, but it's pretty close to it. All our newer AeroPresses are at my house. We don't brew the AeroPress on bar very often, but it is still my favorite brew method when traveling. The other great thing about this, as well as the hoop, which I'll speak about in just a moment, is that you don't need a hell of a lot of specialized equipment to brew with it. In fact, both of these brewers use the same small paper filters, and you don't need a proper or a special pouring kettle for either of these brew methods. They're both super durable and easy to travel with, and I have been enjoying both of them. The hoop is very new, the AeroPress we are all familiar with, and we'll be brewing both at the same time. So what I love about the hoop in particular is that it's a pour over brewer, percolation brewer, but it's quite clever. So there's a central chamber, which holds your coffee, and then an outer ring where you pour your water. And around this chamber, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this if the camera's focused on it, but we have little holes all the way around this hopper essentially. And what happens is the small holes control the rate at which the water will flow from the outer ring through the bed of coffee and then through your paper filter in the center. And what that means is you can actually saturate, or you can put all your water in at once and it will slowly permeate to your coffee. And yeah, you end up with a slightly longer brew time than normal. We grind super coarse for this. So on our EKs in the bar, we are wide open as coarse as possible. On my Commandante, I'm actually at like 34 to 36 clicks, which is extremely coarse, but the flow rate is very slow. So you're gonna have like a long contact time. And the one tip with the hoop, if you're brewing with this or if you're interested in getting one, is no agitation. You really don't want to touch this thing after you've put the water in, because you will clog the filter very quickly. I don't love the filters that come with the hoop. I've preferred the AeroPress filters. For our European and American customers, I believe I think it's the Cerberus filters, or maybe the pulsar filters, I can't remember, you can do a bit of research, are much faster flow rate and will just give you more flexibility when it comes to grind settings. But for our South African customers, go coarse, because all of the filters we have access to are pretty slow on this particular brewer. So let's make some coffee. If you guys are staring at this manky tattoo of mine, please don't worry. It's just super crusty, it's fresh, looks terrible. So just look at my right side. It's much, well, it's not much better, but it's more settled. Okay, so for our AeroPress, we're gonna dose 16 grams of coffee. I'm gonna use the inverted method, and we're gonna put 220 grams of water with the coffee, leave it for a minute. I'll then flip it, swirl it, and press for about 30 seconds. Okay, just to recap our recipes here, I'm going to be dosing 16 grams of coffee, 220 grams of water, all of the water at once, cap on. At 1 minute, I'll flip onto my mug. I'll just swirl the brewer slightly just to, get a little bit of agitation going. I kind of do it the same way every time. You can use a paddle, or a butter knife works really well if you're traveling. You've got to use what you can find. And then I press for about 30 seconds. So your total brew time with the flip and all the rest of it will be about 1 minute 45. And then extremely different approach on the hoop. We're going to use 18 grams of coffee to 300 grams of water, so a slightly longer ratio. And we will use 2 pours. So I'm going to put the first half of the water in and kind of let it saturate the coffee, and then I'm going to put the second half in shortly thereafter. You do end up with a bit of a crust on top. I've really played with like breaking it with a knife or using a WDT. I just find that it ends up clogging the filter really quickly. So play around with that at home. I would prefer to sink that crust if possible. Using super fresh coffee is not your friend here, because that will float more than rested coffee. And using a super dense coffee with this brewer is also not the greatest idea. So like, for example, a washed geisha from Panama would brew very slowly. Our Ethiopian coffees will also brew pretty slowly, so I'm expecting a 4 to 5 minute total brew time on this brewer. Our water is hot. Our brewers are almost ready to go. I'll just show you how you seat the filter in the hoop. You literally just pop your AeroPress filter into the space, and then screw your hopper back in. And there we go. You have your filter. Coffee just goes straight into the middle over here. We don't want to agitate it at all. I'm going to get it onto my carafe. And we'll start with this one because it's going to take such a long time. Once you've got everything in there, I will slowly move it over. All right, let's brew some coffee. So using my trusty Felicitous Square, my least favorite gooseneck kettle, which is actually perfect for this brew video because we're not using it to pour in any certain way. I've put 150 grams in, and as I said previously, a super rested coffee is going to be much better to brew on the hoop because you just have less gas in the coffee. It's going to be much easier to sink the coffee. And that is certainly the case here. This coffee is about 6 weeks post roast. So that's perfect. So I'm just putting the second half in. We're up to 300 grams. And this coffee is ready to go now. So I'm going to carefully, it's probably a bad move, but I'm going to carefully move it off the scale, and hopefully we didn't stall this brew completely. But if we did, we can edit it to make it look faster, and you will never know. I'm joking. If we're doing 2 brews at the same time, I need to use my brain a little bit here. I'm going to start this one at 1 minute 30 for the hoop, and then we'll know where we are. Okay, so I'm adding 220 grams of water. For those of you who are interested, my brew temperature, my water temperature is 94 degrees. We're using treated water through our Blue Water cafe station system downstairs. The original profile, 100 ppm. So if you're buying bottled water, you can look for 100 ppm. The ratio of calcium to magnesium is 2 to 1. Magnesium to calcium. Gosh, calcium to magnesium, I think. Maybe Katie can put it here. I'm gonna pop my unrinsed filter paper on. And for those of you haters, if you can really taste an unrinsed paper filter as small as the AeroPress filter in a 200 gram brew, you are hyper talented. Flip, swirl, the same swirl every time, and press. I know I'm gonna get some hate in the comments for that. Or if not in the comments, just in your mind. And you don't have to hit the keys and make me feel bad. There we go. So that was like 140, 145. Thereabouts. The hoop is still going. Looking good, looking slow. We're at almost 3.5 minutes. Give you an update in a minute. The hoop also comes with this really nifty little either lid or when you finish brewing, you can pop your brewer on here. Very nice. It's probably a good idea to put the lid on for these long brews to keep a bit of temperature stability in there, but I'm too scared to touch the brewer once the water's in. Because as I said, it stalls very easily. Cool. If you've been a subscriber for a while, comment your favorite coffee so far in the comments. We would love to see that. Maybe I'll share my favorite of the last year with you in there as well, if you comment. We'll see. I can also tell you that this year, we have some crazy good coffees coming. Just finalized all the logistics on our Kenyan coffees today. We've got 8 lots coming. We've only ever bought 4 in the future. That's the highest number of lots from one season. We have 8 coming this time, including a natural, which is pretty bonkers. Good lordy, this hoop takes a long time. So our 2 brews are finished. Very, very different styles of coffee, both fantastic. And I'm really excited to share these coffees with you guys. Hope you enjoy the April subscription coffees. If you've got any questions about brewing them or anything about the coffees, please comment below. We do check all the comments. Hit us up on Instagram, and we're always keen to engage. So yeah, thanks for the support, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Oh, that's hot.